Hello everyone. So in this video, we will be discussing about what is release planning and how we can configure it and what exactly is release planning. So if you see in this particular QA.io repository of ours where the image is getting pushed after each and every successful pipeline run. So the these are not having any stable or like latest image tag. So for example, like in production environments, these default pipelines and all are configured with the integration test. So after each and every successful integration test, the correct image needs to be pushed to the image registry with the stable or latest tag. So like anyone who is using those images, maybe the end customers or whoever managing their production environments for their workload. So they will be aware like, okay, this is the stable or latest image that I can use finally now. So that's where the release planning comes into the picture. So during the release planning, several other tasks are also involved. So such as like enterprise contract and all to verify if any supply chain issue or not present. So yeah, so we will configure all those things in this particular video. So moving back to the reference guide in this section 19 for release planning and getting. So here we have this enterprise contract policy ML. So this is the default policy present in the cluster in one of the namespace, and we will create it in the default tenant namespace as well. So it just contains the bundles and the images which will be used for verifying and performing enterprise contract. And then there's a release plan CRD. So basically it is having two major labels. So first label is like auto release, which indicates if any test integration passes successfully, then the release can be triggered. Definitely it will trigger a new pipeline run for pushing the images with the correct labels to the registry. And then the another label which is standing attribution, which like includes the author details and all those things. And then the spec section. So in the spec section, we are specifying the application name. So the application CRD we created initially. And then comes basically other parameters like target default tenant. So which default tenant like the namespace where exactly release plan and release plan admission CRD will be residing. And then the final parameter, release grace periods. So basically this parameter makes sure that any release which is going to be triggered, so it must pass a check. Basically the integration test must be done within the 7 days only. Then only release will be triggered. And then the release plan admission. So this release plan admission is having these parameters like origin. So must match to the namespace where your release plan will present, the application CRD name, and then the pipeline reference, like basically which GitHub repository it will be looking after and exactly which pipeline it needs to trigger. Like the YAML definition should be there for the release pipeline, like where it needs to be pushed, with which uh, label it needs to be pushed. And this is the policy it will refer for performing the enterprise contract, all those scanning things. So this particular YAML was there in the starting. And then the release pipeline YAML. So yeah, enterprise contract and SLSA can be discussed in the upcoming videos in much more detailed manner. So that's why only this policy part is specified here without any detailed explanation. So yeah, first of all, we will be creating this particular enterprise contract policy in the default tenant namespace. We can utilize this OC command as well if we want to create it directly from the terminal. But instead, we will go ahead with the YAML approach, like importing from the web browser. And yeah, this is the release pipeline YAML that I was talking about earlier. So this release pipeline YAML just contains some of the parameters and the task that needs to be run when the test integration completes. So just uh, picking up the latest snapshot for which the enterprise contract and all those things needs to be performed. Like so here in this task, those validations are done. So apart from this validation, once that task completes, so it will start pushing the image to the qa.io registry with the required labels and all. So if you see, it is pushing the image with the latest label. All right, and then we can create this release.yml file to manually trigger a pipeline to see what actually happens in the complete pipeline run. But as of now, we don't need it in this particular video because it will get triggered once we make the changes in the GitHub repo. So yeah, let's start with this YAML file. So first of all, we need to create this enterprise contract policy in the default tenant namespace. So I will copy paste this YAML, but instead of copy pasting that YAML, we can run this command instead so that it will pick up the latest images, whatever required in the enterprise contract policy, because this particular YAML is already present in the another namespace, the default enterprise contract namespace created upon deploying Konflux. So since we are testing out everything in the default tenant namespace, so we will create everything in that namespace only. So yeah, let's start with the policy creation. So it's created now, and we can describe it and check the YAML of it as well, like what actually it contains by running ocget enterprise contract policy. So this is the policy present, and we can get the YAML of it. So as you can see, these are the sources, like what actually it contains, the OCI image and the policy. And then we can create the release plan. So it will not require any modification. We can just directly apply it from the web console. So I will click on import YAML and paste it. So no modifications are required. And in the same, we can apply the another YAML as well, which is ReleasePlanAdmission. So here we need to make the changes. So I will specify my username for the GitHub account where the test repo was forked. And then we will upload this particular YAML file to our GitHub repo so that the release pipeline run will be able to fetch it. Okay, so once both the CID is created, we can push the pipeline YAML for the release. So I will create a directory in the already cloned repository. So no changes are there yet. I will create the directory release, and in the directory I need to create this YAML file, and it will be containing this content. So this particular release pipeline YAML can be modified as per your requirements, as per your cluster configuration, like whatever is required. So in this YAML, I need to make the changes for the qa.io registry account. So I will specify my account name here. And apart from this, there will be few other lines where I need to make the same change. So I will be searching for it. Okay, so maybe let's search with the org. Okay, so here it is. So we need to make the change here. And we need to make the same change at, I think, 2-3 more lines. And let's search for it again. So here it is. All right, so all the necessary changes have been done in this YAML file, and we can now push the changes to the repository. So yeah, like git status. So this is the only change. We will run git add and then the commit. So I will just specify the message here. And now git push, and it will prompt me for the username and the password. So the changes have been pushed successfully to the repository, and pipeline run will be triggered automatically. So yeah, this is the YAML file that we uploaded. As you can see, this particular CI started, and we can check the logs for it also. So over the Konflux UI, we can just list for the pipeline runs. So there will be a new pipeline run. So there it is. So this is just the default pipeline run for basic checks, cloning the GitHub repo, building the image. And we can monitor the same thing from the OpenShift pipelines as well. Okay, so this particular pipeline run is there, and we need to wait for it to complete. Then afterwards, the integration test pipeline will be there, and after integration test pipeline only, the release pipeline will come up. So the default pipeline run completed, and here's the integration test pipeline. So it will complete within a few seconds, as it will be performing some of the test only. Okay, so this also completed, and now the release pipeline will be triggered. So here it is. So it also started, and it will be having multiple tasks. So yeah, so first task completed, and it is now performing validate enterprise contract. So in the validate enterprise contract, it will be performing multiple things related to the SLSA, we can say, and about the security part and all those things. So yeah, we can click on it and verify the logs. So in the logs, we can see it is trying to validate it now. So in this particular control environment, we will be getting one violation and like 5 to 6 warnings, since we are using the self-signed keys here to sign and validate the images, and 4 warnings, 4 to 6 warnings, because the tasks which were running in the initial pipeline for like scanning, RPM packages, and also all those tasks were using a bit outdated images instead of the latest images. So that's why. So let's wait for the logs to print. So all right, this particular task completed, and as we can see, the warnings are there in the set. And then finally the image was pushed to the staging registry. So like this pipeline can be customized as per your need completely. So once this pipeline completes, we can verify the releases tab in the Konflux UI. So the release was completed successfully, and if we refresh the qa.io repository page, we can see the images are there with the stable in the latest tag, and the security scanning automatically started from the registry side as well. So yeah, that was it for this video, and we will discuss about the enterprise contract and other things in the upcoming video. So thanks a lot, everyone.